Hi, my name's Phil. I like to talk about politics, and in this video, I like to discuss the latest belly aching from Tommy Robinson after he loses his appeal against segregation in prison, essentially. And whoever has control of his Twitter demonstrates that they have an IQ somewhere between that of a mouldy carrot and a red delicious apple. But first, for daily political commentary, please hit the subscribe button to stay notified. So, second week in a row where I'm talking about some far-right political vandal whining about the consequences of their actions, and a second person who demands better treatment of themselves than they expect of others. On this occasion, Tommy Robinson, who has been imprisoned for contempt of court after continuing to spread lies that have resulted in material harm being caused to a young lad, but partly for its own safety, it seems. Robinson is not only whining that he's in prison, despite pleading guilty to an offence which carries a custodial sentence, but being segregated from other prisoners. His Twitter monkey has described his existence in prison as tortuous. No, mate. Tortuous is when you're a law-abiding citizen and are scared to leave your home because some far-right ape has whipped up hatred against you for no other reason than it's a good way to make millions of pounds to enjoy never-ending foreign holidays with. Being segregated in a British prison is not torturous. Now, I appreciate that as an introvert, it seems way less of an imposition to me than someone more extroverted. Okay, I get that. But Robinson chose to maliciously commit acts which would inevitably send him to prison every now and then. He is lucky his sentences are quite short compared with the length of time some of his victims have had their lives ruined. And remember, this isn't even for years. He'll be out of prison pretty soon. He should just lie back, close his eyes, imagine he's sat by a swimming pool in Greece, and it'll be like he's living his chosen life anyway. And part of the argument against Robinson being able to appeal against this segregation was the belief that other prisoners would intend him harm. So the prison authorities are actually trying to save him from being killed, and Robinson is apparently upset about that. But whoever has control of his Twitter account is even more ridiculous than Robinson himself. First, they constantly try to claim that Robinson is a political prisoner. Now, a few things about actual political prisoners. First, political freedom groups tend to campaign for their release. I've not seen any such group given a shit that Robinson is in prison. Second, political prisoners tend not to plead guilty. Third, political prisoners are left to rot in prison for years, basically for the rest of their lives, unless some equally powerful political pressure triggers their release. Robinson is in prison for a matter of mere months. But the thing that nearly made me spit my Vimto out was an attempted gotcha. See, his Twitter monkeys are trying to claim that the authorities and mainstream media are lying to the public about the circumstances, and they attempted to point out a discrepancy. Aha! Right? So they point to a statement which says that he is allowed out of his cell 3 hours a day to exercise, use the gym, play games such as pool, and another just under 3 hours 3 times a week where he does painting and decorating work. Okay? Ah, cried the Twitter monkey. And this is exactly what they said, word for word. Legacy media printing the lies of the establishment as usual. How do they think Tommy Robinson plays pool on his own? Huh? Like, what? I mean, they might as well say, oh, they say he gets sandwiches. Oh, but how does he eat sandwiches on his own? You tell me that then, eh? How does he play pool on his own? It's actually very easy. When I had a pool table, I used to play a lot on my own. Pool players spend more time playing on their own than they do playing against other people. It's like darts. It's quite easy. Granted, you might have been suspicious if they were trying to claim he was playing volleyball on his own, but not pool. Oh, how do you play pool on your own? Have you ever... Do you know what pool is? And the fact that this daft Herbert thinks this is a gotcha doesn't say much for the brains supporting Robinson on the outside here, does it? Or maybe it's one of those situations whereby populists are not actually as thick as they appear. They're just taking advantage of the fact that they believe their followers are stupid enough to believe mad shit like this. I noticed they even had to describe a presenter on GB News as, check notes, absolute throbbing left-wing tool on the far left. I mean, apart from the fact there's a bit of a tautology there. If you're going to describe someone as on the far left, you don't have to call them left wing as well in the same sentence. But GB News, left wing, far left wing. The bottom line is that Tommy Robinson is not a political prisoner. Most of the time, he's not a prisoner at all, despite him causing constant grief to many innocent people Frankly, given that he causes so much damage in Britain and he likes being out of the country most of the time, we should think about doing what the Tories did a few years ago to a teenage girl. Take advantage of his dual citizenship, strip him of the British part and deport him. He won't have to go anywhere near a British prison then, will he? Where he faces a torturous regime of getting to lounge around all day, reading books, playing pool on his own. I mean, you listen to his belly aching, and the part of me that remembers what it was like to be unemployed years ago is thinking, I wish I had that life back then. I mean, I don't want to go all four Yorkshiremen here, but it sounds like luxury to me. I'm quite sure a lot of people living in real poverty right now are listening to what his prison routine is and thinking, that sounds better than what I've got now. In fact, that sounds like an all expenses paid holiday. Certainly not torture. He's just another posh millionaire grifter pretending to be of the people, but in reality could not give a shit about the lives of ordinary people. Anyone who had any empathy for others and knew what life was like for a lot of people would be embarrassed to try to describe the life he's living as torture. I have no doubt he feels stressed by it all. I have no doubt that he feels he's experiencing privations, but the reason for that is because he's used to the life of a millionaire. Prison for him does, I've no doubt, feel distressing because his normal expectation of life is that of luxury. To many people living in this country who, although technically having their freedom, don't have the money to do anything with it, Tommy Robinson's publicly funded holiday camp sounds great. And the only reason he's getting that, rather than being dumped into a dungeon with only the rats for company and some bread and water for sustenance, is because we have human rights laws. Human rights laws that he wants us to do without. He should try prison in a country without those human rights laws. He'd soon be wishing he could go back to the British prison then, wouldn't he? And that's the case with all these far-right bellends. They always feel they're being treated unfairly when consequences for their actions come knocking, because they haven't a clue how life is for those who are genuinely shat on by society. All these populists who claim to be of the people, they're all millionaires, every single one of them, or at least very wealthy and very comfortably off. And especially given that they express the desire for much worse living, they actually preach for people to live genuinely torturous lives. So I have zero sympathy for these wailing wankers. I'm only sad that it won't be long before he's lounging around in Spain again, complaining he misses his family, just like last time. But there we are. Those are my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. If you've enjoyed the video, please click the like button and subscribe for further content. If you'd like to support the channel further, you can click the join button for memberships. Thanks for watching, and until next time, I'll see you later.